Hey everybody, welcome to Best Bud Growers 101. Today we're going to do a little bit of a breakdown about your light systems. My recommended lighting for your this is a 4x4 tent, so we kind of want to go over that today. One of these things that I really recommend, these babies, they're amazing. They have a veg and a bloom switch, which we're going to get to in a minute, but they also have an extra set of outlets, so it allows me to plug this one into this one and then this one into my outlet, and I could, even if I wanted to, I could run my exhaust fan and plug it into here, allowing me only to need one cord. I've really been able to free up a lot of space, not having to have multiple outlets and stuff. These bad boys here are 1200 watts. Now, I would not recommend, this is a total of 2400 watts. I got two lights in here, that's 2400 watts. That is way too much for your standard size tent. The reason why it works for me is because I'm going to do low stress bending, which means these babies are gonna eventually get bent over and be much lower. So once he hits about this high, he's gonna get bent back down. So your recommended inches from your lights to your plants are 18 inches. But mine being almost 2400 watts total, I keep mine at about 26 inches, almost an extra 10 inches. So you got to think, you know, if you're keeping your lights 26 inches away from your plants, and then on top of that you have this distance that you don't have, and then on top of that you don't have this distance for your grow lights, you're going to run out of room in your tent for your plants to grow and get big. You're not going to make it your full 3 months, which is recommended for your vegetative stages. So what I would recommend, for unless you're going to do low stress bending like I'm doing, what I would recommend is about a 300 watts per plant. If you get a 300 watt grow light like this one, but 300 watts, it's good for one plant. If you get 600 watts, it's good for 2 plants. And if you're going to have 4 plants, I'd recommend 2 600 watt grow lights. So that's about 300 watts per plant. And that's really, I think, is a pretty good standard recommendation. Like I said, I got 1200 watts because they're going to produce a lot more light and a lot better lighting for my plants, especially with the low stress bending. And I'm going to have plenty of grow room. Like, I got all this distance here that I can lift my lights. So once my plants start to get big, I'm going to bend them down, and then I'm going to bring my lights right back down to where they were. Right about where they're at right now. So I wouldn't recommend that for anybody else unless you are gonna do low stress bending. If you're gonna do cropping or screen of green or sea of green growing methods, those are the 4 main popular growing methods. Look into those, decide which one you're gonna wanna do. Sea of green, screen of green, cropping, and low stress bending. Cropping is where pretty much you cut the bottom half of your plant out because they're not going to get the photosynthesis that they need. Now the other thing is, I would recommend, and this is my advice, you have a veg stage and then you have a bloom stage, and this is what happens when you click on the bloom. Boom, it gets these red lights. So if you look up your light spectrums while growing a plant, you got your blue light spectrums and then you have your red light spectrums. Blue light is during what we have right now, vegetative stage. You want blue light spectrums, which is what I have. And then during vegetative flowering stages, you want red light spectrums. So you'll read a lot about people online, how they use these things, and they usually keep both of them on. They keep both veg and bloom on. I wouldn't recommend that. If that's how your plant were meant to grow, then they would just automatically just have them on. They wouldn't give you the option to flip them. But as you can see, the red light is very overpowering. It overpowers the blue light. So my recommendation is grow them on your vegetative light, which is blue light spectrum. And then when you get ready to flower them, keep your vegetative light on, but switch to your blue light. It's going to create more light, but it's also going to be a brighter red. So it's going to turn that blue light into a red light, and plus give you the added red light, adding more light to your tent. And you're going to want as much light as possible. especially if you don't do a low stress bending. It's going to be really hard to get to the bottom of your plant. This reflective material will only help so much reflect that light. So that's a little bit about your lights 101 today, guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, and be sure to stay tuned for more videos.